My name is Allie Rayburn, and I am the coordinator of digital engagement and annual giving at Morehead State University. With that role, I also am the manager for our digital engagement center. I started in my position last September, so it's been a little over a year, and this is my fourth semester that I'm approaching with the deck. So, still decently pretty new. As a student, I called as a caller in what was formerly just the call center. And since I have taken on the position, we've rebranded it to be the Digital Engagement Center, as a lot of schools, I think, do. As well, we have also, this has been our first, we've completed one full semester or season with VanillaSoft. So this is our second that we're coming into now. So we initially first heard about VanillaSoft through a colleague that I had. She actually went to Morehead State here. And so when I first started my position, we were filling it out. And she told us about VanillaSoft and how great of a platform it was. And so at that time, we had to kind of wait and push that off until the spring so we could kind of start discussions. Previously, we had been completely manual. So we were a call center that was operating with phones to their left or right, and then they would pick up the phone and type in someone's phone number and call them that way. So I was very excited to be able to hopefully look into an actual platform that we could use just to ease up on efficiency and to get a lot more out of our actual engagement center as a whole. So we sat in on a demo last spring with Rachel, and I was blown away. I know having just seen like our Google Sheet that we use for everything, being able to see the entire screen with all the different panels got me really excited. And I didn't know if that was nerdy or not, but it's been true that like my students have benefited like a lot from having all that information, just like I thought they might or hoped that they might, to be able to see all of a constituent's information as well as the script. They can click around different panels, and to have all that kind of contained in one platform was very helpful, not only for my management, but to be able to pass up to my fellow teammates on my annual giving team, as well as our staff as well. So kind of getting hooked into VanillaSoft late last spring, I was able to onboard during the summer, kind of take my time and fill out the process. And we launched our system officially in October of 2023. So to be able to kind of start and to upload over 40,000 contacts was a really, really cool thing to be able to do and to go live and to have VanillaSoft to kind of ask questions as anything came up. That was something I was really excited to have in my corner, and I'm excited to see what's next for us. So one thing that I also really think there's a lot of improvement on, and it excites me to go and kind of look into, is the reporting feature. So as coming from someone who is not very familiar with Excel, or I mean, I know enough to be in the workable, stage, but that was a great opportunity for me to learn and build and really understand like the entire process of VanillaSoft and what our center does. So playing around in the reporting kind of feature and building as many different types of reports as you possibly can, testing those out, that has been super helpful to realize kind of my priorities. So my customer service rep suggested that I outline on paper all of my priorities ahead of time, and that was very helpful. But having that one season complete, playing around in the reporting, seeing what really VanillaSoft can do, allowed me to come back for my spring season and tweak those priorities, add more priorities, and make things make more sense in the long run. And then I'm going to be able to kind of fill that with more reports later. So really just outlining everything has been super, super helpful. And knowing that there's a lot that this reporting feature can accomplish, not only for me or my data team, but also my students as well. I was really surprised at how well and like how excited my students were over using VanillaSoft. I thought they would just, something new that they would learn. But really, they would come up to me independently and be like, "This is amazing. Like, I love this." And that surprised me, but also made me super excited because from me to be able to see kind of all the little steps behind that and to know when they log on and everything is in front of them. They don't really have to ask as many questions about where is this? How can I find this? It's all right there in front of them. And I think that's a really cool thing. And that made me really happy to kind of have those students as excited as they are. And we've done a lot of things like on the outside from VanillaSoft to be able to hype up their job and allow them to see that this is a really cool job for them to have. So with like LinkedIn and different things, they're able to interact and share those things and just continue to brag on the system in and of itself. They might not, tag VanillaSoft, but they're talking about their job. And to me, that's a win. And VanillaSoft was really critical in making that happen. I think that personally, I love a good checklist. So I really, really loved knowing what all my steps were going to be in my onboarding process when I started. I use all different kinds of online planning tools just personally and in my job. But having that and having everything clickable and links and different things that I could have any question that I needed answered and know that this is what I'm going to talk about next. That was super helpful. And being able to kind of chunk out different topics that allowed me to kind of understand what was coming like, next, but also if I had questions, I was able to ask anyone. So the onboarding process was wonderful and I really loved, I don't know if you're going to ask this or anything later, but I love the support center. I know that my customer service rep, Danielle, had mentioned that, when I actually go live, if any crazy thing happens during shift or I wasn't too versed on something, I can reach out to that support center and I would get an answer really quickly. And I did have to do that. But I was able to get an answer super quickly and figure things out on the fly. So your old support center is like top notch. It's the best. Before we used VanillaSoft, we were still a digital engagement center, but we were still more so solicitation based. And while we did incorporate outside texting and videos and things, we still were primarily not calling specifically to engage all the time. So that was something that I was super excited to be able to implement with VanillaSoft, that really we aren't just calling to ask for a gift. On behalf of the university, we wanted to call to share events and updates and things, which we could kind of do before, but to have different teams that are specifically like designated for that and specific scripts that I could swap in and out was really helpful. So one thing that I wanted to measure when I first was ready to go live with VanillaSoft was positive contact or conversation rates. So that was something that I was able to kind of see. So a lot of that was tied to like result group. So when my students would code a specific result code, it was predetermined to like link to like positive, negative, or, unreachable, no contact, those sort of things. So I was able to pull out that, and I'm happy to say that we had over 96% positive conversation rate in our 7 to 8 weeks calling last season. So that of course doesn't include people that we weren't able to speak to, but our conversation rate was measured with people that we spoke to on the phone. So that's a stat that we never have had before. And that does include people that we asked those for gifts and then we don't. So that, just every contact that we make was generally pretty positive. So that was something I was super excited to have. And we were able to, of the 45,000 contacts that I uploaded in just those few short weeks, we were able to be in contact with 15% of those, which having no numbers to go off of, I asked my boss, as one does, is this a good number? And she said, that's a very good number. So I didn't know at first if that was a good number, but it was a very good number. And I'm excited to grow that, since we will be continuing. We have one project that's designated for the fiscal year. So when we start in the spring, I'm excited to continue to ramp up all those numbers, and to reach more people, have more completed calls, and have more genuine and longer calls too. And that's something that I'm also able to measure, to have a longer, more impactful call that my students can record notes that are all in one place. They can select different things that will notify me that they talked about this specific thing. Just all of the data and the information that I can receive after one shift is wonderful. One other thing that I especially love, and I was especially really proud of, is that having no data again beforehand, we're able to make 43 calls an hour, which is very, very good. We only have 5 active lines, and typically all 5 were in session, but there were times, depending on different things that we had going on, that not all 5 were even active. So with as short of a season as we called, making as many calls as we could, and getting those numbers up, and that positive association with our office and the university was a really, really great thing that I was excited about. In the fall, we were able to raise a little over $6,000, which is a decent number, especially given how many weeks we called. But I really do want to ramp that up, and we're focusing more in our spring season on specific cause-based giving. We were just necessarily like fundraising for our Fund for Excellence, which is our like general kind of catch-all fund in the fall. So raising money for those specific cause-based things is something that we're going to be focusing on. And hopefully with that, we'll be able to double what we've currently raised for this fiscal year from the Digital Engagement Center. In addition, something that I didn't play around with that I've wanted to is interactive routing. So I had those I played around with those before the season started, but I really wanted to kind of start with what I knew and to be able to play with that when I had a little bit of time to think about it. So I'm excited to kind of kick those into gear as far as with our renewal pool primarily. And then also some of our acquisition pools to be able to really focus on how the best way to communicate with specific groups are in the spring season. Something that also is outside of VanillaSoft, but I'm going to be trying out, and VanillaSoft will help with that. I talked to my boss about this, but since we are an engagement center and we have been focusing on things that aren't just that specific ask, we do something that I'm adding. Instead of having our traditional 3 ask model, the conversation is going to be a little different. So we're going to start with sharing some news and exciting information from our institution, having the one ask that's really tailored and specific to the conversation that was had with the constituent and the student. And then depending on how that conversation goes, if they would like to make a gift, we proceed that way with our traditional model. And if they don't want to make a gift, that's fine. We have plenty of capabilities to be able to, on our follow-up emails, send the link, send text messages, send continuous different little things that we can make sure that they still have the information that they need if they want to give. If they want to give through the phone or through email or however they want to give, we want to come to our constituent. And then after that one ask, pivoting to our general, updating information, learning more about the constituents, so that in the long run, we can kind of play to those conversations that we had. So not necessarily VanillaSoft, but to be able to take that model that we're going to be trying out and having those calls routed in a different way, and having them go to a different team that we can touch base on, and to incorporate different engagement calls even after they have that, that simple refusal that we might have earlier in the season. So playing the long game, but VanillaSoft, that's what I'm really excited to be able to do with VanillaSoft and play with those different queries and routing filters. Yeah, just generally speaking, I think the thing that really helped me with VanillaSoft was to be able to take my time and really learn the ins and outs of all the little systems. So there are the little tabs that you all built in on the admin side. I would just kind of start and go down through and make my changes that way, even outside of like the onboarding checklist. So of course the system was like functional by the time I was ready and like ready to go live, but I'm continuously looking for different ways to improve. And I know the places that, after seeing the one season that I'd love to improve upon. So I constantly am going back in and like improving on the little things that can just make the user experience great. I also have my students go through little, like, especially my supervisors, to go through like script audits is what I call them. So going through and just kind of letting me know what things need to be changed or, things that might make more sense on the caller side. I'm constantly in the admin side and seeing it that way. But even though it's not different, it is in some ways as far as the way that it looks for people. So I really want things to be as user friendly and as constituent friendly as they can be too. So that applies to all my email templates and my text message templates and all those things, just constantly checking through and making sure that things are kind of up to our standard in our office and what people expect from the call center as well.